Hello, everybody. I'm Tim McDonald. I'm the founder and CEO of iTheatrics and the Junior Theater Festivals worldwide. How is everybody doing? Hey, it is a gorgeous day in New York City. It is 57, 58 degrees, and like so many people from Texas all the way up to Maine, it's been a cold spell, hasn't it? So it's nice to see the sun and to get a little rays on our faces and to be warm, and not to have to wear all the boots and everything. We're here today to talk about Hans Christian Andersen, the online edition. It's I brought a couple of friends with me, and about a year ago, 2 days, we're shy of 2 days, we opened this show at Nashville Children's Theater with our dear friend producing, Ernie Nolan. And it was a glorious production, I must say. Court Watson designed our sets and our costumes. It was just a terrific experience. It was also my last experience doing live theater. So we have that memory. So I'd like to bring a couple of friends out here to talk about that a little bit. And that is the director of that show, Rosemary Newcott, and Mr. TikTok himself, Daniel J. Mertzlufft.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, wonderful people.
I think we do these things, Rosemary, just so that we can like hang out with friends like you.
Honestly, I'm so grateful. Thank you. It's so good to see you. And everybody out there can't see you, but wonderful.
A shout out to Christy Jeter. Hey, Christy. We need to catch up. It's been too long. So Rosemary, you and Dan and I took this journey with Frank Loesser together over several years.
Yeah.
And tell me about like your experience with the project.
Oh, yeah. It was first, we took it to the Kennedy Center. So we were at New Visions, New Voices, and we had an opportunity to work with some wonderful creators there and kind of put the play in a spin. And that was great fun. And then we got to take it to Nashville and kind of really mount it right before everything closed down. And I think everything about this production from the very beginnings of it, it's just one of those things that has that seed of success in it because there's so many entry points for everyone. You know, it's the music and it's the storytelling and it's the characters. So I could not say enough good things about the whole experience from start to finish.
I agree. And Dan, this was one of your first sort of like heavy lifts, like you didn't quite compose, but you took this catalog written by the great Frank Loesser, who I think is perhaps definitely in the top two greatest lyricists and composers in America, living or dead. But you got to take that music and put it through your eyes in terms of your arrangements and your underscoring. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, you know, there was the Danny Kaye movie that then they quickly adapted into a stage production within a year. So it was really quickly done. And we had access to all those songs and the full score with that. But then we also were granted access to just the entire Frank Loesser catalog. So some of these songs, Tim would get an email from Joe Loesser, his now passed wife, saying, hey, I think like these songs might be great. And it was like old recordings of Frank just like singing a tune at a piano that no one had ever heard before. So I also got to take those and transcribe them and then just arrange everything so that it feels cohesive. And while a lot of the stuff he wrote is almost period, not to his period, but to like older, like times where it's almost like a fantasy, to also give it some like modern Disney type vibes. So I took all of that and threw it all together and created the score. And yeah, that was like one of the first big things I did with iTheatrics, which is like almost the same job I did for Ratatouille, which is so funny now that I've done that. And then, you know, like Tim, you and I were filming a piece that I like actually wrote earlier this week. So yeah, it's been a while, but Hans is still with us. I think now we've done like 8 versions of it at this point, which the fact that I still enjoy it and I'm excited to talk about it, means a lot if you've done it that many times.
Absolutely. I should say that the story is wholly new. It's something that I created out of my silly little brain. And it's an origin story of how Hans Christian Andersen, a 13-year-old, became Hans Christian Andersen, the writer we all know and love. which was just a great journey for me to take. I got the opportunity to write it, and I'm not kidding. I just gotten back from my dad's funeral, and Freddie Gershon called me, and he was like, "Kid, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I just left, the end of the funeral. And he's like, Joe Lusser's looking for someone to do something new with Hans Christian Andersen. Would you like to talk to her? And I was like, absolutely. So the show to me has always been, the story has always been also the story, a little bit of my dad. There's a little autobiography, not too much, but just enough of like, I'm super dyslexic, as you all know. And so what it is to be a writer who's dyslexic, when you grow up that way, you think, oh, I could never be a writer. I don't spell very well. And that's, not the case. There are great writers and who don't spell well, and great writers, okay writers who spell perfectly. So that's sort of the message. We do have the online edition, which was launched a couple weeks back. It is perfectly structured for Zoom and Zoom rehearsals. And Dan, would you just talk, because you worked on that adaptation as well. Could you just tell everybody like why we did that, in terms of like, what did we do specifically so that it's easy to do on Zoom versus like, I'm going to do Beauty and the Beast on Zoom and woo, what a headache.
Totally, yeah. So this one, along with our other online editions, are specifically made so that they can be performed and rehearsed entirely online, safely from home. Which, yes, it's great that we have vaccines coming out. Yes, that's great, but we still have to be safe. So what we do is we basically eliminate any time anyone has to sing together, except for there's like normally 3 moments, because those end up having to be pre-recorded videos. So that takes a lot of pre-production, getting to the final performance. So we have like those, so it's manageable, where if you did another show like Beauty and the Beast Jr. or something, you'd have to film every single song that is more than one person. So we want to make sure that that's pretty limited. It's obviously shortened. Our 1 hour version is the junior version is about 1 hour. This one's about 20 minutes. And then it's just solos for the rest of the time so that it can all be rehearsed. And then my favorite part of it is that it still is performed live. Like, yes, there are pre-recorded videos, but what is a projection sometimes but a pre-recorded video? Like, it's just part of this live version of theater that we are creating. And you still feel that when you have people in the Zoom room who are watching, and if something goes wrong, it's going to go wrong. Believe us, it's happened before. Internet gives out and, but it gives you that thrill of live theater again. And then you also can just perform it 100% safely. And I'm just really excited, to get a little preview out there, and then when we can finally do theater again, to see the real full version.
Yeah, I was surprised when we did the Big 1-0, which was the world's first Zoomsicle. We started that around March 20th. Welcome back, Rosemary. We missed you.
I'm here in a way. I'm on my little phone now because the computer went down.
It happens. Welcome to 2020, 2021, where everything's a challenge and we just keep smiling anyway. Hey, Heather and Maureen, I want to say hi to you all. But I was surprised when we did the Big 1-0 online, because I attended when you guys actually did the Zoom record. And you started right at the the top of the show.
We're gonna try something else because
whoops.
Can't understand.
All right.
No worries.
And this is what can happen during your Zoomsicle.
Can't hear.
We'll keep going.
We're gonna try
all right.
something else.
So, okay, good. I want a clown car to pull up and just like a bunch of like, hey, here we go.
But that literally happened during the recording of one of our performances when we did Uni the Unicorn. Our lead girl just left.
Yeah, she just. Anyway, I was saying, like, when we did the Big 1-0, what I love about it is it does the way that Marty and his beautiful brain and you and Lindsay and all the team of iTheatrics structured these online musicals is that you do record them live and in order. And so when you get to the end, there is that, you've replicated that sense of theater of like, we did something, I'm so excited. And I love that. It's just, I don't know, we can't do theater the way we want to yet. Some people can, good for them, but we're not quite there yet. And here's the other great thing about an online edition. You can plan your whole schedule because it's unlikely to get canceled or whatever, all those things. So Hans Christian Andersen online edition is available exclusively at Music Theater International. Go right onto their website. It's a flat rate for everybody. You get all the materials digitally. And, you can say that you did, Dan, the Rat's Head Musical Fellows' first musical ever, sort of.
As an arranger, like I definitely did the job. Most of the jobs that I had for Ratatouille I also had for Hans, but then I also wrote original stuff for Ratatouille. But yeah, that was like building my skills, so I was ready to do that when it came.
And how that turned out! Wow! Again, congratulations! It must feel good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It feels like a lot. Well, that feels like a lifetime ago, and it was, it was 2 months ago, and the idea of like. Performing Hans, rehearsing Hans. I was in the audience, but rehearsing and working on Hans in Nashville, which was a year ago, just feels like a lifetime ago. And I think that's sort of like a universal feeling at the moment, which it is nice to revisit it though, and like hear these songs again and create live theater again. Yes, it's over Zoom, but it's totally live. And you get that rush. Like when I was sitting backstage waiting to play all of the transition music and the videos and stuff, you get that live excitement that you would at any other point. So it's really been nice to sort of feel that again.
And it's fun for people to discover Frank Loesser's music. A lot of us know the score of Hans Christian Andersen, Thumbelina, Thumbelina, Tiny Little Thing. There's lots of good tunes, And but then we were also, like you said earlier, able to pull in from his catalog, and we discovered Everybody Sings, which the Joe Lusser, his widow, R.I.P. She's such a great woman. You got to meet her, right?
I did, yeah. I had a couple of readings. Yeah, she was great.
Joe promised she'd take me to get martinis, and we were never able to do that. And I'm kind of bummed because that conversation would have been fascinating.
Oh, I cannot even imagine.
But
and that it was really fun, and of going back and also like listening and discovering all of these old songs and really diving into them, because the craft is just so brilliant, and like bringing songs you'll never have heard before, and then also giving it like the Disney treatment, which is one of my favorite things to do, where there's one song called Thumbelina that in a lot of older shows, they just kind of like ended the song. It was like, Thumbelina, Thumbelina, what's the difference if you're very tall? When your heart is full of love, you're 9 feet tall, which is like lovely. But it was a big moment. And I remember Tim going like, all right, listen, this needs to have like a big, huge ending. And I was like, do you realize what you're asking me to do? Because I can deliver on that. But I don't know if you understand what you're asking me to do. He was like, yeah, just do it. So it turned from like this 8-bar ending into like a 32-bar extravaganza with like counterpoint and all this fun stuff going on. It's just so fun. And it was really fun over the pandemic to, when we were working on it, to work with the kids on that and hear them do all these different parts. Cause it's definitely like the whole score is not challenging specifically, but there are some like really fun, difficult moments to work on. And
also like we created the show to be a junior show. So it's written for kids to perform. And, that makes a big difference. Like it's one of the strengths of Dear Edwina is that there's lots of roles for lots of kids of every type, of every talent, of every desire. And so it's fun to write things that where you're like, this is exactly what it's going to be.
Hello again.
Sorry, everyone.
Hey,
we missed you.
We did miss you.
I missed you too. So I missed you talking about how wonderful this show is and how it touches on all those important points of storytelling and the power of storytelling, and that is a coming of age journey. You all went through all that already, all that.
I did, but like Rosemary, you directed it. Like you're the originating director of this piece. What's the moment that is the most favorite for you? Like what's the director's dream part of this?
I think because it for one thing, I'm a real character driven person as a director. So, I mean, it has beautiful music, and I tell you what, if your kids will sound beautiful. It's just got great songs. And I mean, not just solos, but the ensemble work too. It's just beautiful. But I'm very driven towards, I'm very attracted to character pieces. And I mean, there is really great book work. I mean, there's really great interaction between characters. And no, it's true. And it's a fabulous story about discovering yourself and acceptance. And if boy, do we need that whole sense of really accepting other people for who they are and really trying to understand them. And in every way, you know, cross-generational, different ways people look. I mean, the whole thing is in the package of this. And so for me, that's the thing that kept drawing me into it more and more, and how I feel it succeeds on so many levels, but on that particular level, it does enormously. It's a beautiful story. And, you know, his work is classic. I mean, there's a reason why Hans Christian Andersen's stories last as long as they do. I mean, there's within there embedded that are stories of acceptance and stories about revealing what is important about what a life is. And I think that's what is such a joy to uncover in it, and to give your students an opportunity to find things and ways to express it, because what Tim has done is left a lot of room for creativity. So there's so many different ways those stories can be told. And it's just a gift. It's a gift.
Well, and there's the section where 13-year-old Christian Andersen, because he doesn't like the name Hans, is that's his dad's name, right? Where he is telling the story, making up the story of the Little Mermaid, and it becomes this sort of infused ballet that you did so beautifully. Would you just tell people like your conceit on it?
Yes, yes. That whole sequence. Basically, I don't know how much you told them about the characters, but there is a young lady who's in a wheelchair in the play, and actually, it is she that inspires young Christian to write the story of the Little Mermaid, and to be able to visualize that and realize what that is, to put her into that story, that she becomes the hero of that story. And it's what we did with it was it's very much about creating your own world and not worrying a whole lot about being super effects, but, you know, just really allowing the creativity of each of your actors to come forward, so that they really are finding physical ways to really find their way into that storyline and create images that help Christian tell his story. He does. He agrees to be Hans Christian Andersen eventually.
You know, one of my favorite evolutions of that was Thumbelina, when Hans is sort of coming up with the story of, or Christian is coming up with the story of Thumbelina. It's very like he's just sort of spitting it out and making it up as he goes. And he literally when we were doing it at the Kennedy Center, it was like our actor like sort of just did it with his thumb and then ended up doing that. And then when we were in Nashville, it ended up being like this cutest little puppet, but it wasn't a real puppet because it was like a found object that he had. And then when we did the online edition, we were able to have one of our students who's an incredible dancer then end up performing as Thumbelina in the video. And there's just so many different ways to help bring these to life. And especially when you have the platform that is video for those songs and all of the different things you can do, because it is part of the show now. And how fun you can make, you know, a tiny little screen, a little girl who's hopping maybe from screen to screen, you know, there's so much you can do.
Backgrounds that you can put in there. I mean, just the imagination that it can take you away immediately. I'm really looking forward to seeing these online versions. I can't wait.
Me too. I love just Googling and seeing like who's doing what. Also, like if you don't cry at the finale that Dan arranged, and also like there's some writing going on there, let's be honest, but you know, we did play with the conceit of what it means to be a swan. And I don't want to give that plot point away because it's I think it works really magically in the show. But Dan, you did create this final moment when Hans embraces who he is, and it's extra, it's over the top, it's everything that Mr. Sparkles should be. But it'll also, I guarantee you that you will cry.
Yeah, that was really fun, and we actually came up with that moment at the Kennedy Center, and I remember the three of us talking, maybe over a cocktail, that this moment needed this like gravity, because the fact that he is finally accepting who he is and like embracing himself and the legacy that his father leaves for him. It is a really emotional moment, and that is such a climactic moment. We really need to build into it. So when it builds and builds and I'm gonna give it away, whatever. But it builds and builds and builds, and this beautiful lyric that Tim wrote, that then it finally lands with him for the first time saying, "I'm Hans Christian Andersen," because he always wants to be Christian, because he never thinks that he would live up to his father. And it's just like, I'm really proud of what I did, but even the lyric itself, it just hits you right in the heart.
As it just takes you away, and that whole discussion, or the family unit is such a critical part of it. I mean, to me, I said this to Tim quite a bit, that you don't often see a production that really involves cross generation. You'll see a show with kids in it, or you'll see a show that's mostly adult characters, but this really deals with what that relationship can be with people that are older than you, and it's really exciting that it's done in such a joyful way, in a positive way. There's so many extras to it. And that ending, I never made it through without crying. So, yeah, and it was joyful crying, because it was that recognition of understanding what it is to come to a point of reality about who you are, and understand that you can be happy with what and who you are, and that you have an ability to share that with others. It is the world.
It really is. Hey, it's been so good coming back and celebrating what we did a year and 2 days ago. And I also have a special announcement. So if anyone seeing this, please spread the word. If you license any of the online musicals between now and March 31st, which is also known as Stephen Kennedy, Marty Johnson birthday, because they share the same birthday.
You need a better name than that, though. Like, it needs to be like the Martivan John Kennedy. There needs to be like, you're the writer. I just write the music. I trust you to come up with a better name.
I think it's Smarty Day.
I like that.
Oh,
yeah, it's Smarty Day.
Smarty Day.
Have a good Smarty Day. That's March 31st. Then, if you license one before then someone from iTheatrics, it could be me, it could be Dan, it could be Cindy Ripley, Marty, Steven, Gianna. It goes on and on. We'll do a drop-in in one of your rehearsals and chat with your team, chat with your kids, and just have a little old fun time, because we miss you guys. And also, we thought, like, so let's do something. Let's encourage you to really do these online auditions. So many of you have already, so thank you. Go to mtishows.com and you can license it directly from there. Super easy. Everything's digital. One fee, the whole bit. And one of us will come and like hang out and play with your kids and you guys. So do that. Do it now, and please spread the word. All right. So LJ. Oh, Clean in the background, our wizard of StreamYard. Hi.
Hello.
Is there anything we missed?
You got it all. If you license by March 31st, one of our lovely team members will come and hang out for one of your rehearsals. Hans Christian Andersen is coming out. We've got another couple titles coming out as well. And
can I drop it? Can I drop what's going to be released?
I think that you can, Tim.
Okay, don't tell anybody. This isn't live, right?
Oh, no.
It's fine.
I'm such a dork. Elephant and Piggy Online Edition should be available momentarily, and it's awesome. Flippy, floppy, flory, flippy, flop. Yeah. So that's it. So license one of those shows today. Rosemary, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. LJ, thank you for being our wizard, making all this happen behind the scenes. We can't wait to see all of you soon. We're figuring out our summer, by the way. We got a thumbs up from the governor to meet in day camp. So that's exciting. We're figuring it out. We have some huge titles to talk about. But in the meantime, if you can't do a musical safely live, or you're concerned about it being canceled and rescheduling, do an online musical. And I'd recommend Hans Christian Andersen Online Edition. See you, everybody. Bye.